I'd like for you to meet someone who's going to be a new neighbor of ours here in Florida, Mr. Walt Disney.
Yes, when the mouse came to the Sunshine State, Florida tourism as a whole had to start working a lot harder to keep up with the new competition. And what did Busch have to say with the news of Disney?
We are very grateful because we realize that Mr. Disney personifies the same type of attraction that we have here in Busch Gardens, namely a family type attraction.
Ah, yes, a family attraction. A beer factory tour while your drunk uncle yells at the macaws. So what did the park do in retaliation? Well, first, they expanded their animal section with Boma, which later became Nairobi.
The Serengeti Railway to match the Magic Kingdom's train ride, and the park's first thrill ride in Stanley Falls Flume.
The park also added the Sky Ride and the themed entrance of Morocco, but they needed something more. In 1976, the park opened Python, one of the first inverting aerodynamics coasters ever built. While Disney had Space Mountain, the first inverting coaster in Florida was a big headline for the park. With the coaster opening, the park was rebranded as the Dark Continent, as this was the time the focus on more rides and real African theming began. With the coming of Epcot Center, 1980 saw the opening of Timbuktu, bringing the park some flat rides, a dolphin show, and the park's second coaster, Scorpion. Also to counter river country, the water park Adventure Island opened across the street. The 80s were a time of lots of additions, including various shows, rides, and lands, but most significantly, the African Queen boat ride, which was Busch's answer to the Jungle Cruise, was a major standout. Instead of animatronic animals, this ride had real living, breathing alligators, monkeys, and rhinos right next to your boat, all navigated by a skipper with a real parrot by their side. This ride was a great example of what Busch Gardens could do since they had real animals and took risks that Disney wouldn't. But to keep up with the changing theme park industry, the ride closed in 1989 to make way for Tanganyika Tidal Wave. See, while before theme parks just needed to have immersive rides and lands, with the opening of Universal and MGM Studios in the early 90s, the focus shifted to include more thrilling rides as well. At the time, Busch Gardens was practically a zoo with some rides, shows, and a brewery tour, but it still didn't have a true identity yet.
While the park attempted some more thrilling rides in the past, such as the simulator ride Questor and Congo River Rapids, they needed something big, something stand out, something powerful.